Angels, in today's episode, I want to talk to you about unleashing that inner wild woman, that spiritual gangster side of you, because a lot of people have this perception that going on a spirituality means you have to change, or you have to fit in, or you have to be someone that you are not. And I'm here to tell you that we're here to have a spiritual journey, but we're also here to live a beautiful life experience and to get the most out of life and to still be the essence of who you are. We can still be playful, we can still have fun, we can still have that inner spiritual gangster, along with tapping into those beautiful spiritual tools and rituals and support and guidance that are going to help you navigate you through life. I can't wait to dive into this episode. I will see you soon, angels. Let's dive in. Hi, good morning, my beautiful, beautiful friends. I am chatting with you this morning down on my jetty. The sun is rising. There are purple colors in front of me behind the camera. There's a full moon. It is epic this morning. It is such a beautiful, beautiful morning, and I've got so much that I want to share. And look, to be honest, I almost didn't podcast this week because I am so exhausted. I'm in the middle of changing over software platforms, updating websites, looking for teacher. Like, I've just got so much going on, and I got to bed so late last night. It was after 11 o'clock. I don't recommend this. And then I was up at 3:30 because I had my bar class this morning. But the moment I step into bar, the moment the music starts, I get moving. The girls were dying today and I was dying, and I just feel that that moving of your body just brings so much more energy into your life and into yourself and into the room around you when you step into these amazing environments like we have in the studio. And it's just a testament to, I guess, that commitment that I made to myself, that I will show up for you guys and I will get a podcast out every single week. And there was that part of me this morning that as I woke up, I thought, 1 week won't matter. And we do this to ourselves, right? We're like, oh, it won't matter if I just miss the workout, or it won't matter if, I just pause on my health and fitness goals throughout winter. And I'm like, this morning I'm driving back, listening to my music, my Raising My Vibration playlist that I love, and listening to one of my beautiful clients who's become a mentor to me in business. And I was listening to her message, and she was saying how all the things that we spoke about in Bali last year, she's like, I've been so proud of you. I'm seeing what you're doing. I'm seeing like a lot of the strategy that we talked about. You're putting it into place. Opportunities are lining up. You're doing amazing things. And I'm driving home listening to all this going, how can I not podcast for you guys? And how can I not show up for me? When I made a commitment, I will show up every single week and share and inspire you and inspire myself and, connect with my community. It was a commitment that I made, and my word is law. And that's what I want to encourage you, just a little side note as I start the episode, like, what is your word is law? What are you committing to yourself that it's so easy to go, I don't feel like it today, or I don't have the energy? I mean, yes, we got to listen to our body. Yes, I'm not saying that at all. It definitely comes with listening to our body, but there's also that fine line between listening and giving in to those temptations to go, oh, I just don't feel like it, right? So anyway, I wanted to start the episode with that little message, that little reminder for you, because I'm so excited to be down here. And as I sit down here recording, it's just a beautiful morning, I thought to myself, I am so grateful to have this opportunity to connect with you. I'm so grateful I've got people that love showing up listening to my podcast every week. I'm so grateful for all these thoughts of gratitude come down as I stepped out into nature and thought about me about to podcast. I thought, I'm so blessed to have the opportunity to do this. Those little things, girls, those tiny little things just to help shift something in you when you are not feeling it, or when you're not feeling the momentum or the motivation. It's something we need to bring into, we need to give ourselves that little pep talk, and we need to bring it to ourselves instead of waiting for other people to motivate, inspire us, or get us moving. Anyway, let me dive in, because I fully digressed what I was going to talk about this morning. So what I wanted to share with you is, I guess, this bit of inspo that I had that I did a reel over during the week, which was all around the spiritual gangster. And my friend sent this to me, this reel, and I have found the template. I've kind of been a bit funny with not really using templates. I've been creating everything from scratch with a lot of my socials, and I haven't been consistent. I'm like, I'm not buying into trends. I'm not doing those silly trends that everyone does. And here I am finding myself doing a trend, but it was actually, it's always the intention behind it, right? Like, I don't do it just for entertainment. I do it with a message. And I wrote a message, a supporting caption with this reel that I put up. Anyway, my friend sent it to me, and she said, I describe you to people, Lise, as you're all beautiful and spiritual and yoga and Pilates, and you say fuck. Like, you're just real. And I've had a lot of women say to me, like, that's why we like you and that's why we enjoy learning from you, because you're just a real everyday woman, and you have your flaws, you have your challenges, you, like, not everything is perfect. And that's how I show up, and that's what I know my community like, and it's effortless. It is really effortless, girls, when you start to become more authentic and more having the courage to just it's almost like letting it all hang out, let your real self be seen. And she said to me, she sent me this reel, and it just had this really kind of cool little, it was just like a, I don't know, 15-20 second reel, and it had this really cool little track with it. And it was all around, now I can't even remember the words. It was, we all have that one friend who's spiritual, feels energy, and is also a little bit gangster, right? Then you go into like the gangster. Well, some women are recording this reel, and they're just having them sage or, you know, whatever they're doing, their spiritual rituals. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to do it different. I'm going to put the first part of the reel with me doing some of my spiritual rituals. I was in Bali under a cleansing waterfall ceremony. I was using sage. I was, you know, using my oracle cards, and that was kind of the first, I was on retreat, you know, like hosting retreat. That was the first kind of few seconds of videos. And then I flicked it, as the music changed, I flicked it into like my inner gangster, where I'm bridge jumping with my son and my nephews, where I'm like riding like I'm on a moped through Bali. At least this video I had a helmet on. There's been times, don't judge me, where it's been raining. I would not do this with an Aussie, and I would not do this by myself. It was one of my local Balinese friends who's driving the moped, the scooter, and I was on the back, and it was raining, and it wasn't fast, through Ubud, and there was this section we drive through under this beautiful canopy of trees, and I was like, I'm not wearing a helmet today, we're going slow, I'm just sitting there getting drenched on the scooter, feeling the rain in my hair, having my head up, watching this canopy, sitting on the back, holding on to him as we ride through in Bali. It was just beautiful. I got a bit of a lecture from my husband about that. He said, anyway, I won't go there. But there is that part of me that is a little bit wild and free and likes unleashing my inner wild woman. And in the clip I've got on there as well, let me remember, it was, bridge jumping, riding scooter, dancing. I was on a yacht. You know, I had a glass of wine in my hand and kind of dancing to music, and just that side of me, that there is that little bit of an inner wild woman in me on the jet ski. I like going fast. And I put it up, and I was reluctant to put the reel up because I was like, are people going, what, you know, their first thought is, what are people going to think? If I'm there, you know, having a drink in my hand on the boat dancing, I've actually got a cask in the other hand, but that's the real me. I don't drink all the time, but I enjoy it just occasionally. And I put the reel up, and I got a lot of views and a lot of feedback, and a lot of people messaging me saying, this is why we love you, Lise. Like, you're just real. And they're like, yeah, we love it, all this kind of stuff. And anyway, and I thought about that, and I thought, because under the caption I wrote the honest to God truth, you know, like, we are that earth angel, we are part soul, but we are here to have a human experience as well. And we are here to live our most incredible life experience and get the most out of life, and get connected with our sensuality, get connected with our senses, get connected with nature, get connected with people and love and you know, life all around us, and here in this human body to have this life experience. And that is so different for so many people. However, I also believe that that we have this soul body, and the more we can get connected to our spirit, the more we can get connected to our soul while living this physical human experience, it's like the best of both worlds. I'm like, how could you not get connected to your soul? So some people will go through an awakening, some people never will, and we go through it at different stages, different ages. Some people go through a bit of a spiritual awakening through maybe a crisis, maybe something's happened in their life that turns them to spirituality. Some people make a decision, they want to self-dive, they want to, discover more about themselves, they want to get more connected to themselves, and they go on a spiritual journey by choice. And like I said, some people never do. There's no right or wrong. We're all here to have a different human experience, and however we do that is up to us. Whatever we get out of life or whatever we miss out on life is up to us. And there are some bigger things that are out of our control that happens on our life journey and happens in this life experience that are completely out of our control as well. So I got thinking about all of that, and I thought about how so many people are, I guess, a bit scared of going down that spiritual path, or they're scared like, what if I have to change? What if I have to be someone I'm not? What if I have to go down this spiritual journey? Does it mean that I all of a sudden have to be serious? I have to kind of, they look at people like maybe a spiritual mentor or a monk or somebody who maybe dresses in a really spiritual way, the feather earrings, the feathers in the hair, the robes, and that kind of can, not everybody, it can turn people off. And I am here to tell you, like, part of my real passion is to normalize spirituality for the everyday woman, and to tell you that you don't have to be someone you're not. You don't have to have this perception of spirituality that you have to change, or you have to keep up with, do it like other people do it, or you have to change the way that you dress, or you have to change, like you all of a sudden have to be a little bit, to conform a little bit more, or watch your P's and Q's, or to, worry about how you present, or are you doing everything right? And what I'm here to tell you is you don't have to change the essence of who you are. On the flip side, change is good. I'm a big believer on change and growth and evolution over our lifetime. We should always be, our soul is here to grow. Our soul is here to evolve. We're here to learn lessons. We're here to have experiences. We're here to get the most out of life. We are here to, this is just what I believe. Everybody has their own beliefs, but I believe that every time like our soul reincarnates, what lesson are we here to learn? Perhaps if we didn't learn it in our past life, we're here to relearn it again. So I do believe we're here to grow and to evolve and to learn. And I think change is a good thing. You do not want to stay stuck in the same mentality, the same mindset, the same habits and rituals for the rest of your life, because that's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So I do believe that, Kira, come here, girl. My little dog's got a nose in front of the camera. I do believe that change is good. Growth and evolution over your lifetime is a good thing. But what I also believe is you don't have to change the essence of who you are at the core level. Yes, you'll change as you find yourself. Yes, you'll evolve, you'll level up, you will have more faith in yourself, you'll have more belief in yourself. You will grow, you will get better at certain things, your capacity will expand. So there's definitely things that you will, like you get more in alignment when you go on this spiritual journey. You know more about who you are, what you want, what you will and won't tolerate, the kind of people you do and don't want to hang around. So there will be the people that will say, oh, she's changed. I've definitely changed. So change is a good thing, but what I'm saying is you don't have to be someone that you are not. Change the way you dress, change the way you speak, all of those things, unless you want to, and that's okay as well. But we have this perception of spirituality where like you have to, it's almost like, because people think of like the books like Think Like a Monk, or they kind of feel that you have to do things to maybe fit in with having a spiritual life. For me, I believe like the definition of spirituality is to connect with your spirit, is to connect with that divine presence, is to connect with a higher consciousness, is to connect with a higher, a spiritual realm, whether you call it your God, source, universe, love, divine, grace, your higher self, your soul self. Yes, going down the spiritual path is finding more of that non-physical, that non-material thing that you can see and touch, that knowing of that presence or of that grace or of that divine energy or godlike energy that is there. It is connecting with that, and it is connecting with that soul part of you 100%. But it does not mean that you have to go and change everything about yourself to fit in with what you think leading a spiritual life is. For me, leading a spiritual life is having beautiful life experiences. It is leading from your heart. It is living from more of a heart space in alignment with what your heart and soul wants, as opposed to, being led by our head or led by what other people do. It's returning home to yourself. It's returning home to the soul self version of you, the woman behind all the layers of conditioning that we've learned throughout our lifetime. It's that returning home to stripping back the layers of the fears or the doubts or the limiting beliefs or the habits and mindset that we picked up from people, parents, people at school, friends, caregivers, lovers, partners, work people. It's like all of these layers and conditions that we put on ourselves, or we start to conform to or believe that we have to do. When you return home to yourself, it's like you strip away a lot of these layers and you're like, is that actually me? Do I actually want to do that? Do I actually like dressing that way? Do I actually want to do that for work? It is getting to the root of what's important and purposeful and meaningful to you, and what is bringing you enjoyment to life, and why are things happening for you, how you can get in connection with your clear senses, with your spiritual messages or spiritual knowing or spiritual guidance. It's getting connected with that for you and you only. And then it's up to you what you do with it. The more you can bless other people in life, I believe that is part of a spiritual journey, is helping share and love and support and serve and give and inspire and lift other people up, and accepting other people for who they are as well as who you are. I think there's so many, aspects that make up having a spiritual life. For some people it's prayer, for some people it's meditation, for some people it's getting connected to nature, for some people it's yoga, for some people it is, like the Jay Shetty and going into the Himalayas or into that retreats or onto a deep spiritual soul searching path. Like, it's so different and is so expansive for everybody. There is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. There is no right way to do it. But that is up to you. And your journey is unique as my journey is unique. What I am here to give you the inspiration of, or the thought process of today, is to go, you can be both. You can be that spiritual gangster where you are embodying these beautiful spiritual rituals, but you're also doing the things that you love as well. Like, I started to think about it, and I started to think about maybe, like, as I put this reel up, my two personalities. I started to think, there is that me that loves the driving, out through the cane fields, like driving Miss Daisy really slow, having my yoga music or my raising vibrations with the window down, watching the eagles, going, life's so beautiful. Then there is that gangster part of me that loves going fast, that loves putting on Guns N' Roses or listening to some, higher intensity music, or tearing it up out here on my jet ski. I can go out here and I can wave jump and be wild and crazy and have the music blaring, or I can just sit on the back with Tom and cruise and take it all in and watch all the wildlife around me. There's that both, right? That yin and yang. There's that both side of us. There is that me that, loves going on a beautiful Bali retreat, or going and doing something very peaceful, and all the rituals and all those beautiful things for my soul. Then there's also that inner wild woman side of me for my soul that, love jumping off a bridge. I love ziplining through the marina in Dubai. I love, tearing it up on quad bikes through different places that I've been to. that, again, that different kind of spiritual gangster, still getting the most out of life, still honoring my real self. There is that part of me that loves sipping my raw cacao and having a beautiful mindful drink on the deck as I'm journaling and watching the sunrise. And then there is that part of me that occasionally likes a drink in my hand and a bit of a party on the dance floor. There is that part of me that loves my meditation and the quiet time, but there is also that part of me that loves smashing out R&B Fridays and, you know, cooking dinner with my hubby and having a dance in the kitchen, or, you know, listening to the music on the deck really loud and having that kind of, you know, playing Jack Johnson and just having that nice reggae vibes on a Sunday afternoon. There is that part of me that is beautiful, like loves a soft, slow, restorative yoga class. And then there is also that part of me that likes smashing out weights with some, you know, Fisher playing or some heavy music playing. I really love both. There is that part of me that will talk to the kids and give them that beautiful advice on manifesting and the law of attraction and teaching them how to connect in with their intuition. And then there is that part of me that's that hard-ass mum too, that's like, you know, no one's going to do it for you. You're responsible for yourself. If you don't like it, change it, you know. There is that both sides. There is that part of me that's, you know, I love 5-star luxury. I love being pampered. I love going and having amazing staff, staying in a beautiful hotel and having the biggest buffet and having beautiful views and having, you know, luxury pampered treatments and day spas. And there's that also part of me that will go and camp out here in a swag on the top of the sand dunes at Straddie and watch the sunrise, and with a heap of our friends by a fire. I love both. There is that part of me that is, you know, we live in a beautiful, simple house. We've downsized and got this beautiful, simple house that we're renovating that needs a lot of work that a few years back might have been embarrassed to show people through because it is not, you know, there was that perfectionist side of me that loved having everything perfect when people come over to my home. And now I don't care. I wake up some mornings and Riley's dog is in our bed. I say to Tom, who are we? We wouldn't even let a dog in the house. And now we've got Riley's little border collie on her back with her legs up waiting for us to rub her belly between our heads. What is going on? And then there is that part of me, you know, that is so, I guess, maybe that little bit of an inner wild woman. Like I said to Tom a couple of weeks ago, I was driving to, I think it was a meeting with LSKD, and it was such a beautiful morning, and it had the full moon was still kind of ending as the sun was rising. My rear view mirror, I'm listening to my Raising Vibration playlist. These eagles is flying like literally with my car. One was above my sunroof. I'm like, this is heaven. And I was going really slow and I recorded a little bit and I'm like, Tom, should I post this video? He was on his laptop and he's working. I go, should I post this video? He didn't even look up. He goes, is it illegal? I went, well, yeah. He goes, I suggest you don't. There is a part of me that I will sometimes do things and Riley's like, Mum, you can't do that. I'm like, just watch me. And because I don't want to conform, I don't want to do what everybody else does. So I do have that little bit of an inner wild woman. My point is, girls, we can be who we want to be. We don't have to change in the process. You know, we don't have to present a certain way. We don't have to let go of who we are at our core level. We can still have fun on a spiritual journey. We can still unleash our inner wild woman. We can still be playful and childlike and be who we are. We do not have to change the essence of who we are at a core level. We can still be that bit of a spiritual gangster. And you know what? The more you are like that, the more it inspires other women to do the same. The more it gives other people permission to just feel like they can be themselves around you because you're showing up and being your real raw self. And I started to think about it and I thought, you know, like, because there is this part of me, girls, too, that is beautiful and soft and sweet and caring and kind and compassionate. That will always be there. But there is also this part of me that is a bit of my old school PT will come through and I will give myself those tough talks, or I will, like I had a client yesterday, a brand new client, and I was helping her get set up on the software. And I said, what class do you want to come to? And she said, I want to come to this one, like the 8:30 Pilates. unless I sleep in. What do I do if I sleep in? And it was like my filter went out the window. I said, just don't. Don't sleep in. If you want it bad enough, if you want to make a change, if you want something, if it's important to you, you just get up and and you do it. And I stopped and I went, oh, should I have said that? But that's sometimes like there's that both sides of me where, and I was joking around with her and I said, hey, I'm just letting my old school PT out, and that's how I talk to myself. And I'm here to help get you a result. Like, I am here to help get you to class or to get you taking care of your body and fall in love with taking care of your body. And then she said to me, she laughed and she goes, no, you're right. That's exactly what I needed to hear. I said, it's true. If you want something bad enough and if you want to start committing to yourself, you don't negotiate it. You don't negate it. You don't second guess it. You commit to you, because that's where your results will come from. So there is that part of me that will sometimes say what you need to hear, or to you, to my kids, to me. There is that part of me that will say what I think you need to hear and not what you want to hear. And just like Tom will sometimes say to me those things I need to hear and not what I want to hear, or a coach will say to me the things I need to hear and not what I want to hear. And anyway, I digress, but part of where I'm going with all of that is, you want your best life experience. You need to get out of your own way and accept yourself along the way and go, like, we can be this little bit of a spiritual gangster. Because when I started thinking about it, you don't have to be if you don't want to. That's, I'm not saying you have to. But what I'm saying is I just want to give those girls permission to go, I can still have fun and be on a spiritual journey. I can still unleash my inner child. I can still enjoy the things that I love doing, and there's nothing wrong with that, but everything in moderation, right? And I started thinking about all of those examples that I shared with you, right? And I started thinking about the common thread behind all of them. And I thought, what are we chasing? Like, we can be both. We can have those both sides of our personality. We can let them both be seen. We can embrace them both. And I thought, it's all about the energy. It's all about the feeling. When you get back from having the right intention, everything comes back to intention. Like, I'll always come from a place of heart and I'll always come from a place of love. But everything gets back to the right intention, right? For example, like, there is this part of me that, like I said before, with the loving, I do love luxury things. I do love having nice, a nice car, or wearing, I love getting dressed up in, sometimes just to run down to Coles, I will put on like my beautiful Kavari clothes. And because I feel amazing, and I started thinking about it, what does it come back to? It comes back to the feeling, because there is that part of me that can still be that barefoot bogan that will wander around with my denim shorts and a singlet barefoot. And I'm happy in that place as well, because it all comes back to the feeling. It all comes back to the energy of when I go and stay in these beautiful resorts, for instance. It's that feeling of relaxation. It's that feeling of life experience, experiencing the luxury. Like, there is nothing wrong with that. When I go camping in a swag, it's the feeling. It's that feeling of getting connected to nature that I love. It's that feeling of waking up on the sunrise. It's that feeling of having all your friends around by the fire, or waking up because, we had our kids, jet skis, all of that over there, with barely anything but, the clothes on our back to kind of sleep with for a night. And I love doing that as well. And it's the feeling. It's the feeling that brings me joy, that brings me experience, that brings me love from having my family around, that brings me the experience of having this adventure. Everything comes back to your intention, and everything comes back to the feeling of what you want to feel, and in that life experience and in that moment. And what a lot of people get wrong, I guess, I feel, is they do things from the intention of status, or of keeping up with the Joneses, or of how they think they need to present. There's a lot of boats going past at the moment. Or, of what they think they need to, how they feel they need to show up with a certain title or a certain role, or how they need to present, or how they need to dress around other mums, or how they need to show up at school around other people, or how they need to show up for superficial reasons. And what I'm here to, I guess, inspire you is to go back to what's the feeling that you want. If I like a nice car, it's just because I like the nice car. I don't care what the badge is. I don't care what, you know, it represents to other people. It's what it represents to me, and it's how it makes me feel, and it's the experience that I want to have in my lifetime. Like, there is nothing, this is something I had to get my head around too. Absolutely, I had to get my head around making money on a spiritual journey. Is that okay? And worry about what other people think. And I thought, you know what, I just have to be myself and not be afraid to go. There are parts of me that like the simple life, but yeah, there's also those parts of me that like a little bit of beautiful things and like a bit of luxury, and there is nothing wrong with that at all. There are parts of me that love the beautiful meditation, the raw cacao, but there's also a part of me that wants to go and, you know, have a bit of a dance and have a bit of fun. And it all gets back to the feeling, like, what do you want to experience? What do you want to feel? How does it feel when you unleash that inner wild woman? How does it feel when you have a bit of fun and unleash that inner child? Like, how does it feel when you show up going through life, moving through life the exact way that feels in alignment for you? And on that spiritual journey, I started thinking to myself and thought, like I said, I really want to normalize spirituality and make it accessible for the everyday woman, and go, you don't need to fit into a certain perception of what you think spirituality looks like. And also, I started thinking about when you get more connected to the spiritual realm, your higher self, that soul self, when you open up your intuition, you get more connected to your clair senses. So your clair senses is like those six senses, and it's like those higher senses that you can't physically, you know, like we smell with our nose, we have our physical senses. But then the clair senses are like those gut feelings, like that clairaudient where you hear things, or that clair vision where you can see and predict things that are coming through, or that clair, like those senses where you just have that gut feeling or a knowing or a vision. Why would you not want to tap into that beautiful spiritual realm of being open up to your clair senses, of being open up into your intuition, if it helps you navigate through your life? And that was like back to the reel that I shared at the beginning. That one friend who feels energy but is a little bit gangster. I feel like, I'm open to tell you, I feel energy. I can feel people's energy. I can read people. I have the visions. I do have that clairvoyance ability. But I'm still a normal person, you know, like, it hasn't changed who I am. It's amplified my life, and it will amplify your life as well. Because when you tap into that spiritual realm, when you tap into those clair senses, they help give you clarity. They help you steer clear of obstacles. They help you with making everyday decisions. I've shared so many decisions that I've made based on a sign that I got from the universe, or a knowing, or a feather, or something that I've had a vision of, or something that I've just known that felt right in my gut, or my gut has steered me away from these things. These clair senses that open up when you go into that spiritual journey, they get stronger and stronger and stronger the more you open up to them, the more you are aware of them, the more you practice through trial and error, the more you notice things that go wrong when you don't listen to your clair senses or that spiritual guidance, versus the times that do. We're here for lessons and experiences. We're here to make mistakes, to learn and to grow. But the more we open up into these beautiful clair senses, the more we open up into this spiritual world, the spiritual guidance, the more we start trusting in ourselves, the more we start to see that, hang on a sec, when we open into this spiritual world, it helps us make decisions. It helps us with our clarity. It helps us know when we're in alignment, when we're not. It helps us manifest what we want. It helps us steer clear of obstacles. It helps us be more real and authentic and strip back a lot of the layers. Why would you not want to go down a spiritual journey? Why would you not want to open up to these things? And we can be both, girls. We can open up into this spiritual world. We can immerse ourselves in this spiritual world, but we can still have fun in our physical world. It's that earth angel, right? It's that merging of them both together. And it is that merging of, it's having that life experience but using and having awareness of that spiritual soul part of us that is going to help us navigate through our life. Why would you not want to tap into that? But you can still have fun. You can still be that beautiful inner wild woman and show up exactly how you want to, and you do not have to lose yourself in the process. In fact, what I found with most women and with myself, the more you go down a spiritual path, the more you return home to yourself, and the more you find yourself in the process and discover more about who you are, what you want, and you just don't care as much what people think about you. And that is freedom, girls. That is such a beautiful place to be. That is just such an amazing way to live. That brings you more joy, and it brings you more trust, because it comes back to learning to trust yourself. When you go down this spiritual path, you learn to feel energy. It helps you trust in yourself and trust in your guidance and trust in that you know your soul best, you know what you need best, and it gets you out of worrying about what everybody else thinks you should do and back to alignment with who you are and what you want, and back to your purpose and back to your meaning and back to what you're here to do in this lifetime. And isn't that amazing? Isn't that powerful? Isn't that more rewarding? Doesn't that give you a sense of freedom? To know that you can live like that on a spiritual journey, girls. So I just wanted to leave you with this card that I pulled when I was thinking about this episode. And it says here, time to cross a threshold. This is out of my Earth Warrior deck. A threshold appears, bringing an ending so complete that it is no longer possible to return to what has been. As you trust in your divine connection, deconstructed forms shall reshape themselves into relevant, helpful, beautiful new ways of living, thriving. It's such a beautiful day out here. There's boats everywhere. And expressing your true self. Trust in your strangest ideas. Trust in that which is different. Trust in that which gives you inspiration. Trust in that which is unconventional. Trust in what is exciting for you. You're on the correct path. Even if the birthing pains to fulfill it are challenging, you are guided to reject societal norms about how you are supposed to live or what sort of things you are supposed to value. Instead, trust your own values and believe in the truths that you feel within your own heart. In time, the world will be ready to recognize and benefit from your spiritual growth. The universe is helping you in all ways. At the right moment, you will leave the past behind and enter into the fullness of the present moment, opening up into the brightness of your future. This oracle comes as a important crossing, a spiritual bridge between one world and another. The purpose is to increase the spiritual light within you, promoting evolutionary revolution, a kind of healing alchemy which cannot be undone. This is a blessing for you. Right now is the way that, oh, hang on, I added 2 lines there. But it requires conscious human participation so that the loving will of the heavens can manifest fully in the world, for that will benefit all. Through how you choose to live, how you choose to think, how you choose to act, this sacred shift can benefit many lives, including your own. This oracle is a sign that destiny will meet your personal efforts, and the result of this sacred convergence shall be the fulfillment of an inner potential brought to life in this world. There was one more part I wanted to read. This is a really long card. Let me find it. But anyway, it was talking in this card about, there was a really great line that I wanted to read. It was talking about the healing crisis, and it was talking about like being inspired to have like this radical acceptance to be yourself, this radical acceptance to just show up and just be unapologetically you. Cross that threshold where there is no going back, when you're bringing an ending so complete that you just make a decision to move forward, just being your real badass gangster self, your spiritual self combined with your earthy self, and you just live life with such an authentic alignment where you feel this freedom to express the real you. and let go of the barriers, let go of the limitations about this perspective and perception of what you think spirituality means, because it's unique to you, and it doesn't mean you have to change who you are at a core level. It wants you, I believe that your soul wants to be the realest, most truest, rawest expression of who you're meant to be this lifetime, flaws and all. Who you are meant to, how you are meant to express yourself unapologetically, to be the real you, but you can still go on a beautiful soul journey and have the benefit of living in this spiritual world and having a beautiful life experience, and let your inner wild woman out, let your inner gangster out, and just be the real you and let your soul shine bright into the world, angels. I hope that has, left you with something, and jump on and check out my reel. It was very cool. And I watched it and I was like, this is the real me. There is that bit of a spiritual gangster wild woman, and I am not going to be afraid to let her be seen in my business or with my community. Well, a lot of my community know what I really like anyway, but I was a bit reserved with what I would kind of share on social media. No more. I've crossed the threshold. What you see is what you get, and I encourage you to do the same, angels. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. And everything comes back to intention. Always go through life with the right intention from your heart, and I will see you in the next episode, angels. So much love to you. Mwah. Bye.